Good morning, everybody. We are live on the Positive Vibes group. I'll just turn it down so I can see some of the comments coming in. Good morning, everybody. I've got a bit of a delay there. Good morning, everybody on the Positive Vibes group. Hope you've had a fabulous, fabulous weekend. The sun is shining up here. I hope you've got some sunshine wherever you are today. And we've got a fabulous interview lined up for you. A little bit of an at-home with Ashley Taylor Dawson. Good morning, Ash.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I feel like every time I say your name, I have to say the full title, Ashley Taylor Dawson. Even though you're not in trouble, it's just appropriate.
It's a weird thing I've always had, and I've never understood it. I mean, nicknames are good, but everyone always goes, Ashley Taylor Dawson. I'm like, don't say that. But say it, I quite like it, actually. It's like a title, isn't it?
The full
I haven't
title.
earned.
And you've had such a really long career already. I mean, you're still a youngster yourself, really. You started out in Hollyoaks. Was it 17 you started out initially?
Yeah, I was 17 when I got my first job. Yeah, the first time I was in Hollyoaks, 17 years old, young and
You've been a pop star, an actor, a businessman, now a teacher, a homeschooler of your three boys.
Yeah. I have a pop at everything, fingers and pies and things like that. That's what they say, isn't it? Jack of all trades, master of none. I think that's what I am. Yeah.
So you're best known for obviously your character Darren Osborne in Hollyoaks. Are you one of the longest running characters in there now?
Yes, I suppose I am. Obviously Nick Picard plays Tony. He's been in it since the very, very beginning. My dad's been in it longer, but as it goes, yeah. I mean, Mandy was in it before me, but she went away as well. So yeah, I'm up there. I'm up there with the old breaks now. It's
get there,
sad.
But take us back before that, Ashley Taylor Dawson. When did you first know, when you were a kid, that you wanted to go into the entertainment industry, you wanted to be an actor? Was it kind of a progressive thing, or was it just...
Yeah, I used to watch my sister. She obviously did all the dancing, you know, boys do the sport. She was doing all the dancing and the shows, and she was at a local theatre group. That's my little boy. He's doing homeschooling right now. I'm in an interview. To go out and give me half an hour. Just keep going, yeah? Read the next one, yeah. Yeah, give me 2 minutes. Sorry about that. Yes, she was doing all the dancing, and she joined a group called Scamps, and it's the local theatre group, and they did a show every year. And it just wasn't really cool for me to do that kind of thing, being a little boy. But then I saw a lad on stage, and he was just hilarious, and I thought, God, I want to do that. And my upbringing was, I was playing tennis at a very young age, and played for England as a kid. I was running before school, which I hated, and but it was, my dad was unemployed for a year. He took me all around the country, and then as soon as he had a job, it was like being dumped on your head. We didn't have the money. I couldn't get around. And you just realise an early lesson in life, sadly, is about the money. A lot of the things, you know, and to get somewhere, you need the support, and I didn't have it. And I took myself for an audition. I got a job where I got paid, and I thought, hang on a minute. I just pissed around and got paid for it. And that was it. I thought, this is me. I can do this, you know. You go for an audition and it changes your life. And I think it was just the fun of it. I was doing the local theatre stuff. You get to meet people, and I realised there's a lot more to it.
Youth, didn't you? Your National Youth Theatre.
Yeah, that was my first sort of big break. I was really proud of that at the time. There's about 15 kids getting every year from around Britain. And again, I'd not done anything. I'd done local theatre stuff where you just get told where to stand and what to sing, but not necessarily how to do it. It's not like doing acting classes. So, and you had to do a contemporary piece and a Shakespeare piece. Shakespeare. I was like, what? I didn't even know what Shakespeare was. So I took myself, you know, that's the first time I sort of took interest in my English teacher at school, and said, can you help me, sir? And he explained stuff, and I did a Julius Caesar piece, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed then, you know, because I had an insight into it. I understood why and what, and and I didn't know what contemporary piece was either. So I got the book Adrian Mole, which my sister had.
Yeah, the Diary of Adrian Mole, I remember that.
Yeah, and I found I just looked for big chunks where I could maybe copy something. There's an old man speaking in it, and I pretended to be an old man in this audition, and that was it. So, and again, I was thinking, this is like dressing up and playing. It's great fun. So that's where it started.
And then I was talking to you a minute ago. I didn't even ever realise that you were in a pop group called All Stars. Pop some comments in the chat box below if you remember All Stars. And we were bopping around. You might have to sing a few songs later on. We were bopping around the lounge to a few of your hits on there. How did you get involved in that pop group?
I was actually at college doing my A-levels and just having fun, really, not really taking life seriously. And my best friend told me he was leaving at the end of the year. I was like, hang on a minute, what am I going to do? You know, because that's the way life was. You're just there with your mates, enjoying yourself. And he'd got this group, this pop band. It was a TV show and a band. And that's when I started auditioning, and I got Hollyoaks. So we both left at the end of the first year. He went to London, I went to Hollyoaks. I did a year, and then at the end of the year, they wanted to redo the pilot. They liked the idea. So I was gutted for him, said, so you've not got the job. I said, no, they're recasting it all. So I was wondering if you wanted to go for the audition. And I was like, well, I'm doing Hollyoaks. And he's like, well, come along anyway. And they ended up putting me up and paying for my travel as well. So I was like, oh, this is nice. I like this. And then in the audition, you know, you had these big dance, you know, the big ones like Chorus Line, where they're all on the stage dancing. And then you've got your singing one, and you go off on your own. And it was all very, very daunting, really, because I'd not done anything like that. But I think they could just tell we had the chemistry, because when he was dancing, I was just heckling from the sides, which I suppose you shouldn't do in an audition, but we're just ribbing each other. So I think they saw that chemistry there, and we ended up getting it. So
wow,
the choice of being in a band and a TV show with your best mate and touring around the country, and that's what I ended up doing.
Fun with that. And what was it like though? Because that was you. What were you, about 17 when that all happened?
Yeah, well, I think about 19 to 20 I was. Yeah. It was, you know what, it was incredible. But at the time, you just don't appreciate things when you're young. You know, I was just flying through it. We toured with Steps. We did all the arenas. We did Wembley about 4 times. We did a party in the parks. I mean, you got 80,000 people in front of you, and you know. But my thing was, because we were a pop band and because of the band we were, I just never took it seriously. I'd go, potato, and put the mic out, and they scream. I say, see, they don't care about us. They're not here for us. But it was amazing, you know, and I got to sit down and have a party with Eminem and, you know, Britney Spears and people like that. And at my age then, Eminem was incredible. He was just breaking through. We were at the Brits with him. And I thought, if I do get into his area with him, I said, I'm not telling him what I did. And they did. I was dancing with D12, and they brought me into the tent with Eminem and started asking me questions. I was like, yeah, just an actor, mate. Yeah. Put my Manc accent. Tried to be as cool as I could, even though I was wearing like a pink top and, you know, spandex or something. But, you know, for me then, that was, you know, there's not many people you get completely starstruck by, but he was one of them.
Wow, that's an incredible story. So what was it like, you know, obviously being so young, being launched into this world of celebrity, basically? Was there any kind of help for you along the way in there, or was it you just like thrown in at the deep end?
No, it was tricky. It wasn't tricky. I mean, I just loved it. I lived up life, and I always have done. I've been very lucky to have the jobs I've done. I could have been a lot more careful with, you know, what I did, you know, taxes and things like that. And, you know, I didn't really have a father figure for most of my life. So my mum would always say to me, you know, make sure you're saving something. I'm like, Mum, chill. I'm all right. Don't worry about me. And obviously after all the band and after a year of Hollyoaks, I got hit with loads of tax bills. I was like, oh, I see. This is what happens, is it? Yeah. And it gave me a proper slap across the face. Possibly, you know, my lowest time, really, because, you know, I was out of work and I didn't really have any direction of what I wanted to do. Yeah. So that side of it was, you know, an awakening. But the reality was, I mean, I just didn't appreciate what I had when I had it. And like we do when we're younger, you can never tell a young person, you know, how to do it right. It's like GCSEs, you know, all you've got to do is study hard for a couple of weeks and that's it. It's like, nah, see you in a bit. And it's true though, isn't it? Because you just, the time thing, you just can't work out when you're younger.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? If we could all be fully paid up members of the Hindsight Club, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
During your time on Hollyoaks, I know a lot of soaps, they do tackle some really, you know, hard-hitting, controversial, and some amazing topics. And you've had, obviously, recently, you've been covering like mental health for men. How was that for you to cover that?
I think with Hollyoaks, one of the best things that, even for myself, going through the motions for years, you know, you have to find that fine line between you just going to work and obviously you're doing subjects and these storylines which make a massive difference. And that's the thing that sort of reignited my whole passion and love for working there. Because when you've been there, you know, people say, what's it like being there for that amount of time? Well, first of all, it never feels like that. You go through, you know, peaks and troughs, obviously, in life. But as you get the better storylines, that's what sort of keeps you ticking. And the recent one has been a depression storyline. Now, I think everyone in the world has been touched by either someone who's had it, someone who's committed suicide, or, you know, and obviously right now as well, this is the most poignant time because I think everyone has experienced anxiety. Now, I didn't really know what anxiety was when I started this storyline. I never really got it. you know, I had a tough upbringing, and basically to get this storyline is a gift really as an actor, because you get to not only really delve into something, the research you have to do, but for me personally, I've lost 5 friends to suicide. Some, you know, 3 of them very close, 2 of them, you know, close friends of other people. But it's always that question, you know, trying to understand it. And we are all very ignorant to what it's about. You know, that word selfish comes up a lot. You know, it's very selfish if you've got kids or you've got that. So, which isn't true. And for me, it was about trying to put that across and trying to find a way of giving those people a voice. So the journey's only just begun, really. You know, the work's been great. The response has been overwhelming, because obviously with social media, you get a lot of people writing to you and talking to you and basically opening up. And people I didn't even, close friends who don't really watch the show and say, listen, mate, I don't watch Hollyoaks, but, you know, I did manage to catch that clip, and it was powerful. And it's like to say I've been there, so I understand what you've done there, and it's great what you do, you know. And to get that feedback, it's not an ego thing. It just changes the dynamic of what you're doing. You're actually there on a journey then. So even in this lockdown,
to be voicing it, isn't it, and giving other men the chance to know that it's okay to talk about things like this.
Yeah, and for that reason, obviously, we sort of all shut down when it all started to happen, the storyline on the show, and they've gone down to 2 eps a week. So I was trying to think of what can I do, and the fact is, I'm a contradiction of the storyline that I'm telling, because I've never opened up, I've never talked to a counsellor or done anything that, you know, maybe you should do, and that I'm sort of preaching that people need to do. But the fact is, it's not even that it's not that easy. It's just, I think, as a guy, maybe as a lady as well, you put it into the back of your mind, you just deal with stuff. For my generation especially, there's a lot more things out there now, but I'm from, I suppose, the background, and I was brought up in the way, like, you just get on with it, don't you? You just deal with it, man up, all these words that come to mind. And I will say it's got me through. Does it say I could have got through it better? No, it doesn't. You know, I could have spoken to someone, maybe it would have helped me, maybe organised and this and that. And I think the fact is that people don't realise, you know, the biggest business people in the world have life coaches. Yeah. And I think it's just frowned upon that when you talk to someone or you open up that you're weak. Yeah. When actually the fact is, everyone is strength. You can only improve. You know, how much stuff can you keep in your head? It helps to file it. And, you know, having a chat with your mate isn't always the best way. You know, getting a different perspective always helps. So it's trying to change that idealism of exactly what it is. You know, I think people need to just open like this. When you said to me, would you like to have an interview and have a chat? It's called Positive Vibes. It was like, well, tick. You know, and I don't like doing this. I don't like sitting here with my face on here. It makes me anxious. It does. And people go, you're on TV, you're an actor. It's like, I know, but I don't like it, you know. I don't like selfies. I don't like all these things in it. And that's another thing with social media. When you get all this feedback, it's great. It's amazing. But I find it hard to give an outlet. So in this time, I did an interview with a guy called Josh Connolly, who's a resilience coach. And I basically sat there and just chatted just like this. And I had a chat with him. We talked and opened up about stuff. Nothing, you know, it's not groundbreaking stuff. It's not, but it's the fact that we need to just talk. Yeah. So we did it, and, you know, it goes quite deep and dark into his life and a little bit into mine. And it's just the fact that I've got to sort of, what's the word? Lead by example, maybe. You know, if I'm going to talk about this stuff and try and make a difference if I can, then you've got to put yourself out there first and, you know, show people maybe how it can be done.
Yeah, and this guy that you spoke to, the resilience coach, is this the guy that you've put the podcast together with?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like we just did it.
That underneath later on, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it's just a Zoom, and it's amateur. You know, I don't confess to be, you know, I've never interviewed anyone like that before. I've never gone into it, but I feel comfortable doing it. But at the beginning, now I watch it back and I'm going, you know, for the first 10 minutes. And the funny thing is, people say you're an actor, you should be better. It's how I get given a script.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're actually talking about, but when you're talking about your feelings and, you know, your personal life, it's like music. I write music and write songs, and I can't stand singing them because it's just too invasive. Yeah. You know, but the fact is, my sister sent me this thing that I'm supposed to be doing. I was like, oh, I can't do it. And she rang me up upset the other day. Well, this thing is, it's the perfect example of what I'm trying to do. Is myself, you know, I'm a contradiction of all this preaching that you know, I'm not preaching, and the point is, it's not about preaching. There's no right or wrong, is there? It's just about opening up and talking. So
Absolutely, and it's just getting better every day, isn't it? Just working on yourself and getting better. So we will pop the link to the podcast below if anybody's interested in that that's watching today. But besides being a super duper pop star and long-running actor, you're also more recently a ballroom dancer and a businessman.
yeah.
Let's talk about the ballroom dancing first, then we'll move on to the business side of things. How was that? How was it being on Strictly Come Dancing?
It was incredible. It was amazing. Did I want to do it? No. It's, again, I don't know. I think the pop band put that many insecurities into my head about what I've done. That, you know, the idea of dancing on a stage in front of millions of people was just a massive no-no. And the funny thing, I used to have an ongoing joke with my brother-in-law about it. He said, "You should do Strictly." I went, "Mate, there's no way you'd ever catch me on Strictly. First of all, they wouldn't want me. Second of all, I just wouldn't do it." And then the call came, and I had my second baby, Mason, on the way. And you know, your fatherhood takes over, doesn't it? You know, as soon as you become a father, things change, you know, and baby needs shoes. It's that kind of thing. So how can you turn down the biggest show on TV? But sadly, when I was on it, I was full-time at Hollyoaks. I had the baby. So basically, I was working 8 till 8. I didn't get in the studio to rehearse till about 9:30 at night. We went till about 1, 2 in the morning. Then I was back up at 6:30, and I was doing that every week. So I was only getting 4 hours practice a night at a silly o'clock. And it was annoying because everyone else has the whole day. And this isn't me being bad sportsman, but it's annoying because I would have loved to experience it properly. You know, go for lunch with Ola and, you know, and spend a day going through what we're doing. Mine was just crammed in, go. And then you get there on the day and, you know, people say, "What's it like dancing in front of 12 million people?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not. I'm just dancing in a room and there's people here. That's it. That is it. Shut up."
You did really well, though. You got to the quarterfinals, didn't you? So even on those few hours rehearsing.
It was amazing. But even that, you know, even the fact of me saying I didn't want to do it, the one thing I took from it is, especially as you get older, it's amazing. It's so refreshing to learn something new.
Yeah.
You know, something outside your comfort zone. So it's to push yourself and just test yourself no matter what it is, or even something you do want to do. You know, if you just pick up a guitar and try to learn it now, you know, and stick with it and give yourself an aim, an aim goal. And it is. And that's what I took from that. It was incredible. And to learn to dance, I mean, what a wonderful thing to do. And again,
amazing.
You know, yeah, it was mad. It all seems like a weird dream right now, you know.
And moving on to, obviously, you are a businessman as well. You're well known on the party scene in Cheshire. You've got your club Symposium, obviously shut now due to this current situation. How long's Symposium been open now, and how did you get into that?
It's in 4 years now. It's in its 4th year. It was a friend of mine I met who had the restaurant called the Stolen Lamb there, and I met him for a friend, and one day I rang him on the way home and said, "Do you do takeaways?" The food was amazing. He goes, "Oh, we don't, but I'll do you a box." And I went along and, you know, had a glass of wine, and he just brought out this massive box of food. And I was like, "Oh my God." And he's like, "No, that's on me. And so I went away, and the food was, so it became a regular thing. I'd ring him every now and then. Any chance of I'd go and have a couple of glasses of wine and off we go. And it was nice. And eventually he told me he was closing it down and selling up. I went, what do you mean selling? He goes, "Well, I'm doing too much about it." Long story short, I said to him, "You're in the middle of Wilmslow. The location is incredible." I said, "Wilmslow has had nothing for years. I remember the days of the French Brasserie and, you know, Rectory used to be kicking off, Bank Square, you know, and even Audley Edge was quiet then. Everyone used to go to Wilmslow." And I said, "You know, it needs somewhere. Why don't we do it? And I'll do the music side of it, get the live bands in and everything." And yeah, just thought, you know, I was up for a new challenge, and he liked the idea, and we went with it. Yeah, mad.
Such a popular place up here to go to. I'm gonna have to come and see you after lockdown is finished and you again. Pop in for a couple of drinks.
Yeah, we do comedy nights there as well now. We do once a month comedy nights, which are fantastic. We get all the best comedians from around the world who are on the tours, and they've been coming in, and it's like a sit down thing with a few bit of finger food, and it's great. It's really good. I mean, I get to see that every month now. So for me, as an actor or a performer, to watch comedians do their thing, I mean, there's nothing better. You can't beat it.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking, going back to your kids being at home. Obviously, yours are a bit younger than mine. What do your kids think about what you do? I remember years ago, Stanley, my youngest, being asked at school, what does mummy and daddy do? And his reply was, daddy eats cheeseburgers and mummy owns Facebook. So I came off quite well. But that wasn't
not far wrong.
What do they think about what you do? Do they understand it?
Yeah, they do. They don't really go into it, and I don't really try and test them. One of the funniest things was I came in one day, and obviously one of the parts of having been on the show is you've got a missus on the show, and I've come in one day, and literally as I've come in the door, it was like slow-mo. The two boys were looking up at the screen with their mouths open, and the mouths just dropped like, and then they both looked at me, and one of them ran at me and just smacked me. And they basically seen me kissing a girl on the TV, hadn't they? So they were like, so defending the mummy. And it was beautiful. And it said, boys, listen, this is what I do. It's not what I do, it's acting. You're like, how do I put this? And and it's, they understand it. They think it's funny. And, I coach my oldest football team now as well. And all the lads go, I saw you on TV. And it's, it's funny because a lot of them don't really acknowledge it. They just get on with it. And I think it's as they get older, that's when it'll start coming, when they start getting picked on for the dad being a donut on Hollyoaks. That's when that's when things will change.
Never. We were chatting on the phone the other day, Ash, and we were saying that this like period of time while we're in lockdown has been, it's obviously traumatic for a lot of people, but it's also been a great time for people to reflect, reassess, really press that refresh button and kind of work out what it is they want to do. So if I could take a quantum jump with you to 3 years in the future, what would your ideal scenario look like? What would you be doing? Where would you be living? What would you like your future to look like?
I think it just be, realistically, and not even, it's just be healthy and happy. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got 3 beautiful boys, a lovely missus, and it's so far so good. It's that kind of thing. I've learned a lot of lessons in my life, and as long as, I think the main thing is your kids. As long as your kids are healthy and happy and they're doing, I worry. You do worry as a parent. When you think when they get into being older. I mean, I know my journey to where I got with, with acting. There's a lot of, they say it's luck. They say it's chance. I believe in you make your own luck, and I think you make your own luck through being positive. And I genuinely believe in you get back what you put in. And it's true. And I say to anyone, and they probably get annoyed with it a lot of the time, I say, well, listen, go to the shop, ask the person how they are behind the counter. You'd be surprised at the reaction, because people don't do that. And I think the wonderful thing about what's happening now, and I don't mean wonderful, it's awful what's going on, the suffering, the pain, and, the negative side of it is unheard of. We all know that. But the positives, I'm a half full kind of guy, is you have to concentrate on, the world's healing right now. I mean, David Attenborough's been trying to make that happen for how many centuries now? And, sadly, it took something as catastrophic as this for us to all just quit, So the world's healing itself, and people are regaining that bond again now. They have to talk. They have to communicate. We stop wasting things. That's one of the most amazing things. We're so wasteful and materialistic, and in times like this, I think it's teaching everyone. It's just getting out of the house and having a walk with your family is the most beautiful thing right now. And so when you say in 3 years' time, there's a lot of projects I'd like to do. I'd like to direct something. I've written a few pieces. I'd still like to dip into music. But again, it's just as long as my family are healthy and happy, and the world's in a better place than it is right now, then I think we're all doing all right. Well
said. Very well said. I love it. It's just such a great level of this period of history, like you say, isn't it? It's like everybody's equal. It's just, it's a real refresh moment for a lot of people. So thank you. I look forward to see what's coming in the future for Ashley Taylor Dawson, the many hats of Ashley. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We've got loads of comments coming through on here, but I've not had a chance to go through them all. So I'll go back through them when we've finished on here. But just stay safe, give my love to the whole family, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of all this.
Yeah.
We'll come down.
Party. Party the symposium. Whee!
Yay, party.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Ashley. And love to you all, and I hope to see you soon. Mwah.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.
Take care, darling. Bye.